Hello, Curious! The Los Angeles Lakers and the NBA are often talked about as it is, but this year, after the tragic accident that took the life of Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and 7 other people, it seems that even more eyes from around the world were turned to this season. Maybe not tuning into each match, but definitely checking to see how the Lakers were doing and who the next star would be. As always, one of the stars was none other than LeBron James. Who was responsible for sparking the love of the sport in a young LeBron? And while everyone was busy talking about Kobe and Jordan and that he would be the next star, how did this new talent make himself known? And especially with the release of Space Jam 2, could he be the one to take over the mantle from the legend? Stay with me to find out, but before we continue, make sure you hit the bell and the subscription buttons to stay up to date with all our videos. LeBron James was born on December 30th of 1984 in Akron, Ohio. His mother, Gloria Maria James, was 16 at the time she gave birth, and his father, Anthony McClelland, who according to an article by The Guardian, was Gloria's casual boyfriend, and who had a criminal record and was not involved in LeBron's life. While growing up, he didn't have it easy, moving from apartment to apartment and struggling as his mother found it difficult to find a steady job. In the end, she realized her son would be better off in a more stable family. This is where Frank Walker, a local youth football coach, stepped in and allowed for the young James to move in with him and his family. And just like that, the youngster's life had changed. He ended up doing better at school and even ended up winning the attendance prize. Speaking about the family that took him in and helped him, LeBron said, "My life changed. I had shelter and food. I'll never forget what the Walkers did for me, especially Frank. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves because he's real quiet, but he was the first one to give me a basketball and the first one to show a real interest." It was at the age of 9 when the future star of the sport played basketball for the first time. In the backyard, he played against Frank Jr., and despite losing, his guardian saw that the young kid had some potential. When he was only 13, 6-foot-tall LeBron was the on-court leader of the Summit Galley Hornets, a team which he would later base as the theme for his Nike shoe design. Drew Joyce, who at the time was the Hornets coach, said that when the team traveled to Florida for an under-14 national tournament, LeBron was by far the best player there. Not only did he excel at basketball, but James also used to play football while in high school. He played for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish team and took them to the state semifinals. Reportedly, he was so good that some sport analysts and former current players have even suggested that he had chosen football as a career he could have played for the NFL. A man of many talents, it seems, and so many that is also quite gifted musician. Yes, you might have not guessed it, but he's also a very capable violin player. It seems this man just keeps on surprising, so stay with me to find out what else he has achieved. When James entered the 9th grade, he started attending St. Vincent St. Mary, which is a private Catholic school. In 1999, he joined their basketball team and almost immediately was hailed as a basketball prodigy and became the talk of Akron. In December that year, he played his first game for the school. Within the first 4 months, he had led the team to an Ohio State championship, and the following year, he succeeded to do that once again. In March of 2001, he was named as Ohio's Mr. Basketball. During his high school days, he was already getting a lot of media attention for his skill, which undoubtedly put on even more pressure on the young player. At the start of his junior year, he was featured in Slam magazine, where the writer Ryan Jones labeled him as the best high school basketball player in America right now. That season, James had also appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated and became the first high school underclassman to do so. With even more media coverage and attention, as well as the loss in the Division II championship game, the stress truly got to him, and later, in his book, the player confessed that at the time he would turn to illegal substances to help cope with it all. With his impressive record, it's no surprise that James was the first player picked for the 2003 NBA draft, straight out of high school. He then began playing as a forward for his home team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and proved to be a great asset to the then struggling team. The 2003-2004 season was his first and known as a rookie season, during which LeBron became the first ever member of his team to win an NBA Rookie of the Year award and also became the youngest ever person, age 20 at the time, to win it. On top of that, he was averaging 20 points per game at the time and was one of the only 3 rookies to accomplish that feat. Wow, that put him in the same company as Oscar Robertson and Michael Jordan, about whom we also have a video. Since his draft, he played with the team until the end of the 2009-2010 season, and during his time with them, he achieved even more success, such as becoming the youngest player to score 50 points during a single game. And in the 07-08 season, he even outperformed fellow players like Kobe Bryant by scoring an average of 30 points per game. As you can see, Curious, and as did the press at the time, the young star had a bright future ahead of him. From 2010 to 2011, James began playing with the Miami Heat, and he played with them for 4 seasons, winning the NBA championship twice. When he announced the news, his fans weren't too happy and saw it as a betrayal of his hometown. Though, ask yourself this, Curious, if you got a better job offer that paid more in a different city, wouldn't you make the decision to move? It seems that Dan Gilbert, the Cavaliers' majority owner, was just as upset as the fans, to the point that he even wrote an open letter to the fans where he called LeBron's decision cowardly betrayal. Success is still rolling in and making history. During the 2012-2013 season, he made NBA history yet again when at the age of 28, James became the youngest player to score 20,000 points, succeeding Kobe, who had accomplished this at age 29. After his contract with the Miami team was up, in 2014-2015, he returned to his hometown team once again for another 4 seasons, and once again ended up winning 2 NBA championships with them. However, during his first season back, he ended up missing the first 13 out of 82 regular games due to back and knee problems. And in the 2017-2018 season, he experienced yet another first. After yelling at a referee during one game, he was ejected for the first time in his career, which spanned over 1,082 games at the time. In 2018, James announced that he had signed a $153.3 million contract to join the Los Angeles Lakers. The team had already had many greats under its belt: Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Magic Johnson. During the first season with LeBron, the team struggled, not to mention their new addition had to take time off due to a groin injury. However, the following year, things improved once Anthony Davis joined. And so, this brings us to today, with 1 championship win with the Lakers behind them, with James on the team. Now, all those successes come with a lot of new opportunities to make some cash, such as brand deals. According to Celebrity Net Worth, during his first 10 seasons, James earned just over $129 million in salary alone. To the same time period, we can also add an estimated of $326 million from endorsements. He has deals with dozens of companies, which include McDonald's, Microsoft, Beats by Dre, Coca-Cola, Samsung, Nike, among many others. And in addition to endorsing Beats, LeBron also owned 1% of the company and earned royalty payments, which came up to $1 million during his time as a spokesman. In the end, the company sold to Apple for $3 billion, which meant that the star player got a nice cut of $30 million. And when it comes to having a percentage of stakehold in something, it's also worth adding that he has a minority stake in the English Premier Soccer club Liverpool, a team he has expressed support for. As you can tell, the basketball player is raking in the dough and not stopping. So let's talk about his famous Nike deal. He signed the first endorsement deal at the age of 18, and it paid him $90 million over a period of 7 years. Funny enough, he was offered a higher $115 million to sign with Reebok, but after several pitch meetings with the company reps, he chose to accept the lower deal from Nike. As of today, LeBron earns $20 million per year from the company in the form of salary and royalty payments for his signature shoe line. It seems the company favors him quite a lot, because in 2015, they offered him a lifetime endorsement deal with them that ultimately could be worth more than $1 billion. It is the very first lifetime deal and reportedly the largest in the company's history. The player's current net worth is $480 million, though the site Celebrity Net Worth estimates that within the next decade, he could join fellow player Michael Jordan in the Billionaires Club. But how does the success translate into personal life? Well, if you are looking for some controversies here, then I must disappoint you. LeBron married his high school sweetheart, Savannah Brinson, and the couple has 3 children together. Bronny, who was born in 2004 and is also a basketball player, Bryce Maximus, born in 2007, and a daughter, Zuri, born in 2014. It is not quite uncommon for dads to spoil their little girls, and it seems that James is no exception to it. The star player took to his Instagram page, which has 73.6 million followers, to share a video of his daughter's early gift for the girl's 6th birthday. And in the video, he showed a beautiful white playhouse that is built in the family's back garden. The mini mansion looks pretty much the same as the family's $23 million home in LA, and it even comes with its own mini kitchen and study area. Obviously, I shouldn't have to add that it's not a real kitchen. Now I know I've made a lot of mentions to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in this video, so I will now say why. And during James's rise to fame, many people were often talking about Kobe and Jordan a lot, and that is not to say that they ignored LeBron, because that would be a lie, as before his 2003 draft, journalists were already calling him the next Michael Jordan. The late basketball player himself would often talk about how Michael was his idol, and he wouldn't be where he is today if he hadn't looked up to him. And in a 2016 interview, he recalled the times when he spent his childhood in Italy and all he had were videos that he would spend his time with studying. He also added that once moving back to the US, he would exclusively study Jordan. While most people just wanted to compare Kobe to Michael, that was not the case for them. Speaking at the memorial service for the Lakers star, Jordan gave an emotional speech where he said that while most would be surprised by it, he and Bryant were very close friends. So close that they would call each other little brother and big brother. If you want to know more about Kobe and Jordan's relationship, then be sure to click on the link above. Like many, if not all basketball players, he too looked up to and idolized Jordan. He first got to meet his hero at a 2001 game when he was still just a high school prodigy and Michael was making a comeback with the Wizards. Speaking to reporters about meeting, he said that it was godly. He also added that he's said it before and he'll keep saying it again, but as a 16-year-old kid, this is what meeting MJ felt like to him. Jordan himself isn't too fond of the comparisons when it comes to players. At the start of that year, he took part in a press conference in Paris where he was asked about LeBron and he said that the comparisons are impossible. And he did acknowledge that comparing different eras is bound to happen and will continue to do so. He also praised James for his talent, saying he was a big fan of his and that he loves watching him play, and he knows that the young star has already made his mark in the world of basketball. Comparisons don't stop on the court though. Just like Jordan, LeBron, as I've mentioned before, also has his own line of Nike shoes. They are both also the only two players to ever win a league MVP, NBA Finals MVP, and an Olympic gold medal all in the same year. MJ in '92 and LeBron in 2012. Talk about impressive. And probably most famous of all, the Space Jam movies. I don't think I have to tell anyone what the first film was about, as it was an instant classic and beloved by many. The first movie starred obviously Michael Jordan, and now that I said the first movie because we are getting a sequel. Space Jam: A New Legacy, or simply just Space Jam 2, is scheduled to be released in April of next year, though with the current pandemic, nothing is sure, and instead of Jordan, the role of the star basketball player will be played by LeBron. Nothing is said as to whether Michael would make a cameo appearance, so I guess we will just have to wait and see when the movie comes out. So, there you have it, curious. Did you know the things LeBron has accomplished? Do you think that comparing him to Jordan is justified? And now that sadly Kobe is no longer with us, will James become the next greatest basketball player ever? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.